Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Hey you positive one. In today's video, we're diving into the fascinating world of Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis. We'll explore his revolutionary theories about the human mind, from the inner conflicts that shape our thoughts and actions to the unconscious forces that influence us in ways we don't even realize. By the end of this video, you'll have a better understanding of how Freud's ideas continue to shape psychology today, and how they might just explain some of your own behaviors. If you enjoy this content, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more insights on topics that inspire positive change. Let's dive right in. What if I told you that you're not the one truly in control of your thoughts? That beneath your conscious awareness, something deeper is constantly at work, shaping your decisions, reactions, even your identity. This idea changed psychology forever. And the man behind it was Sigmund Freud. He wasn't just a doctor, he was a mind detective. And his theory? It's dramatic, controversial, and still influencing the way we understand ourselves today. Let's dive into the fascinating world of Freud and explore the layers of the human mind. Sigmund Freud was born in 1856 in what is now the Czech Republic. A brilliant student, he pursued medicine and became a neurologist. But unlike most doctors, Freud wasn't satisfied just treating symptoms. He wanted to know why people felt the way they did, why some patients had physical symptoms without any physical cause, why people acted in ways they couldn't explain, even to themselves. This led him down a path no one had taken before. He began exploring the idea that the mind itself could be sick, and that healing could happen through talking, listening, and digging into buried memories. Thus, psychoanalysis was born, and at the heart of his theory, a constant battle inside our minds. Have you ever felt tempted to do something, but stopped yourself at the last second? Maybe you wanted to skip work, eat that extra slice of cake, or yell at someone in frustration, but something inside you held you back. Freud believed this constant inner struggle isn't random, that it's the result of three powerful forces battling inside your mind: the ID, the ego, and the superego. Let's break them down. First, the ID. The ID is the most primitive part of your mind, that it's present from birth, and it only cares about one thing. Pleasure. IT wants what it wants, immediately. Hunger, anger, desire. That's the ID speaking. It doesn't care about consequences. IT doesn't understand rules. That IT doesn't wait. In short, the ID is your inner child, wild, impulsive, demanding. That IT operates on what Freud called the pleasure principle, the drive to seek pleasure and avoid pain at any cost. Then comes the superego. If the ID is the child, the superego is the strict parent that IT develops later, shaped by your family, your culture, and everything you're taught is right or wrong. It holds your values. That IT pushes you to be perfect. That IT judges your actions and even your thoughts. Ever felt guilty for something you didn't do, just for thinking about it? That's your superego whispering, you should know better. The superego operates on the morality principle. It wants you to follow the highest ethical standards, even if it means sacrificing your own desires. And in between, the ego. The ego is the realist. That it's the part of you that deals with the outside world. The ego listens to the ID's wild demands, then checks in with the superego's strict rules, and finally decides what you actually do. It's constantly negotiating. If the ID wants to yell, and the superego says, that's wrong, the ego might choose to stay calm, or vent in a socially acceptable way. The ego works based on the reality principle. It knows actions have consequences, so it delays gratification, weighs risks, and finds compromise. So think of it like this. The ID says, I want it now. The superego says, that's wrong. Be better. And the ego says, let me figure out a smart way to handle this. Every day, you're making choices, not just based on logic or emotion, but because of this hidden conversation inside your mind. Next time you feel that inner tug of war, a part of you craving something while another part holds back, you'll know what's really happening. Your ID, ego, and superego are in action. Now, here's the twist. Most of this battle doesn't even happen where you can see it. And that takes us into Freud's most powerful and controversial idea. What if most of your thoughts, fears, and motivations were actually hidden from you? Not just forgotten, but buried deep in a part of your mind you can't even access directly. Freud believed that the largest, most powerful part of the human mind is not conscious at all. It's the unconscious. This is where your repressed memories live, your painful experiences, your darkest urges, and even your hidden desires. You might not be aware of them, but they're constantly influencing your behavior. Have you ever accidentally said something embarrassing and then said, "Oops, that just slipped out"? Freud would call that a Freudian slip, a window into the unconscious mind revealing a hidden truth. Dreams, he believed, were also a gateway. Not random, but symbolic messages from your unconscious trying to express itself. In fact, Freud wrote an entire book called The Interpretation of Dreams. He believed that dreams were the royal road to the unconscious. The idea was simple but radical. You are not fully in charge of your own mind. Underneath your conscious thoughts is a vast, emotional landscape, one that shapes how you love, how you fear, how you act, even how you think you are. Freud's methods, like free association and dream analysis, aim to uncover these hidden layers. By bringing the unconscious into awareness, he believed people could heal from trauma and better understand themselves. Sometimes, the truth is just too painful. A loss, a mistake, a fear, it can overwhelm us. So the mind finds ways to protect itself. Freud called these defense mechanisms, mental tricks we use to avoid anxiety, guilt, or emotional pain. And the wild thing? Most of us use them without even realizing it. Let's look at a few powerful examples. Repression. This is the cornerstone defense. It's when your mind pushes painful thoughts or memories deep into the unconscious, hiding them from your awareness. You don't choose to forget, it just happens. But those hidden feelings still influence you. Denial. You simply refuse to accept reality. A smoker insists smoking isn't dangerous. A person who just lost a loved one still sets a dinner plate for them. Denial delays pain, but doesn't remove it. Projection. You take feelings you don't like in yourself and assign them to someone else. If you feel jealous, you accuse others of being jealous of you. It's a way of shifting the blame and protecting your ego. Displacement. You redirect your emotions to a safer target. Angry at your boss, but can't yell at them? You go home and snap at a loved one. It's unfair but common. Rationalization. You come up with excuses or justifications that sound logical, but aren't the real reason. You didn't get the job? You say, "I didn't want it anyway." It helps reduce the sting of failure. Regression. When stressed, you return to behaviors from an earlier stage in life. A teenager throws a tantrum. An adult curls up with a stuffed toy after a breakup. It's your mind's way of seeking safety. Sublimation. This one's actually healthy. You take unacceptable urges and channel them into something positive. Aggressive energy becomes passion for sports. Pain becomes powerful art. It's the mind transforming darkness into light. These mechanisms may distort reality, but they're not evil. They're survival tools. Short-term shields that protect the ego from being overwhelmed. But if they become a habit, they can hold us back from growth. Freud believed that becoming aware of these patterns was the first step toward healing. Because when you name the defense, you begin to reclaim your truth. Sigmund Freud may have passed away in 1939, but his theories are still very much alive. Whether we realize it or not, Freud's impact on the world of psychology, culture, and even art continues to be felt today. Freud's ideas were once considered controversial, even radical. But over time, many of his concepts became widely accepted and became foundational to modern psychology. Here's why his legacy still matters. First and foremost, Freud revolutionized the way we think about the human mind. Before him, psychology was largely focused on behavior, how we act and respond to the environment around us. Freud took a deeper approach. He focused on the unconscious mind and the inner conflicts that shape our behavior. Though many of Freud's ideas have been critiqued and refined over the years, concepts like the unconscious mind repression, and defense mechanisms are still key parts of psychological practice today. In fact, many forms of therapy, including psychoanalysis, psychodynamic therapy, and talk therapy, owe their origins to Freud. But Freud didn't just stop with the mind. He believed that human behavior could be understood in terms of complex layers: psychological, emotional, and social. His work laid the groundwork for understanding how early childhood experiences, relationships, and inner desires shape adult life. Freud's influence goes beyond the clinical world. It stretches into art, literature, and popular culture. Writers, filmmakers, and artists have long drawn inspiration from his ideas. Take, for example, the Surrealist movement in art. Artists like Salvador Dali and René Magritte were fascinated by Freud's ideas on dreams and the unconscious. Dali even admitted that his work was deeply influenced by Freud's theories, particularly his concept of dream interpretation and the symbolic meaning behind objects and images. In literature, Freud's theories provided a way to explore the deeper motivations behind characters' actions. Writers like James Joyce and Franz Kafka infused their characters with complex psychological traits that mirrored Freud's theories of the unconscious, repression, and internal conflict. Even in movies and TV shows, Freud's influence is evident. Think about all those psychological thrillers or psychological horror films. Many of them, from classic films like Psycho to modern series like Mindhunter, owe their deep dive into the human psyche to Freud's groundbreaking work. While Freud's theories were groundbreaking, they have also faced a lot of criticism over the years. Critics argue that many of Freud's ideas were too focused on sexuality, often disregarding other important factors like culture or social influences. Some also challenge his focus on the unconscious as the root of all behavior. Yet despite these criticisms, Freud's impact is undeniable. His ideas sparked decades of research, discussion, and evolution in the field of psychology. Many contemporary psychologists still reference Freud when exploring human behavior, even if they don't fully agree with all his conclusions. Today, Freud's work continues to inspire, even as it evolves. Psychologists and mental health professionals use his ideas as a springboard to develop new ways of understanding the complexities of the human mind. In fact, modern neuroscience, cognitive psychology, and behavioral psychology all have roots in Freud's groundbreaking theories. His work encourages us to continue asking deep questions about human nature. What drives us to make certain decisions? Why do we behave in contradictory ways? How much of our behavior is controlled by forces we aren't even aware of? Freud may have opened the door to understanding the mysteries of the human mind, but it's up to us to continue the journey of discovery. And that's a wrap on our deep dive into Freud's theory and legacy. I hope this video helped you understand how much Freud's groundbreaking work has shaped the way we think about ourselves and our minds. If you found this video insightful, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with someone who might benefit from understanding the unconscious mind. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one.